Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Warrior Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us again this week. We are brought to you by Russell and Associates, and we'll start off this week by talking men's basketball with head coach Todd Eisner. And you got a split this weekend, Coach Eisner. I want to start with the game on Friday first against Minnesota Duluth. A very tough team, number 5 in the country, obviously coming in. We'll get to what happened to them on the back end of the weekend in just a bit. But tell us a little bit about what it was like to play that team this weekend.
Yeah, it was a big challenge on both ends of the floor. I thought they certainly showed their merit in being ranked 5th in the country. You know, I've been here now 7 years, and we've had a couple of really great teams in our league. That Augustana team, my first year here, that went on to win the national championship, and then the Northern State team that lost in the national championship. And certainly, as young as Duluth is, I think they have a chance, you know, in the near future to be maybe the next great team in the NSIC. And so it was a huge challenge for us. We obviously struggled with the challenge on both ends of the floor. We could not stop them in any way, shape, or form. Anytime a team shoots 60% against us, it's probably going to bode in a bad direction for us. And but we also didn't play very well offensively. So I thought they've really made some improvements on the defensive end too, and showed why they're the 5th ranked team in the country.
Obviously, they had a lot of players that would cause you some problems. We talked about last week going into the weekend that we knew that their top 5 players all scored over 10 points a game. And, you know, you had Austin Andrews go out for 29 points. And then Katona and Brown and Blair, they all did their damage as well. You know, I mean, how do you stop this team? Obviously, Upper Iowa was able to beat them on Saturday, but you know, when you're faced against that kind of an opponent, I mean, what is your game plan for that?
Well, we had to pick our poison a little bit. I think most teams are finding that out. You know, the matchup with Austin Andrews inside did not favor us going into the weekend. We're just, you know, we've got some young post players that aren't ready to defend at the level we need them to defend one-on-one. The concerning part is Austin Andrews is a very good passer. So our double teams, we, you know, weren't very effective with him. It didn't phase him. Many times he caught the ball so deep in a scoring area when he was posted that he scored before the double team got there. And then he really hurt us catching it at 12 or 15 feet, just facing up and taking us to the rim. And so, you know, we've got a long way to go yet with some of our young guys. And so it was a great learning experience for our 2 freshman post players that night. There's no doubt about it.
All right. Now, those of us in the media look for meaning in almost anything. So Minnesota Duluth goes to Upper Iowa. Upper Iowa is able to beat them. You're able to beat Upper Iowa in overtime earlier in the season. And of course, you beat Minnesota State Mankato, who is top 25. Does that hold any meaning whatsoever that you were able to beat a team that was able to give Minnesota Duluth their first loss of the year?
I think a lot of things just in our matchups. You know, Duluth was not a great matchup for us. And their weapons offensively allowed us or forced us to not be as help aware as we typically are. You know, there's always 1 or 2 guys you hope you can maybe cheat off of a little bit. And with Duluth, you can't cheat off. The other thing that Upper Iowa does differently than us is they score the ball so freely. And so they have no problems, you know, having the game in the 90s, having the game in the 100s. They want the tempo. We would play that way. It's just not something that we have really forced the issue on in terms of trying to score 100 points. We try to execute a little bit, try to control the tempo a little bit. And so, you know, the way Duluth wants to play is the way Upper Iowa wants to play. And when you have them on the road, they did a good job of, you know, being the better team on that particular night. But yeah, a lot of times it's just matchups, and Duluth was just a tough matchup for us.
All right. So even though you may not be looking to score 100 points, you almost did against St. Cloud State the next night. And, you know, when we were doing the game, we commented on what a difference it was from Friday night to Saturday night, and what a different team it looked like was on the floor for you guys, beating St. Cloud State 94-72. Is that what you're talking about, matchups? Was this a more favorable matchup for you?
Yeah, it definitely was. I think, you know, St. Cloud's running into a little bit of the same problem we're running into, is they were short some numbers. So anytime you play on back-to-back nights and then they had to travel, we were certainly hoping to take advantage of being at home. I thought our guys responded really well to the disappointment from Friday. And again, I'm not sure we would have beat Duluth the way they played if we even played well. But we didn't play well. And I think Duluth had a lot to do with that. And so I really liked our guys' response on the defensive end of the floor for the majority of the game. They've got two really, really good players in Donaldson and Roberts, and I thought we did a great job on both of them. Roberts hit 2 threes early, and then we really, kind of took away his perimeter game. And I thought, Alec Rosner, who had a majority of the time, did a great job on Donaldson. He had only 8 shot attempts and had 32 the night before in terms of points. And so I thought we were more locked in offensively and defensively for St. Cloud's offense. And then offensively, I thought we played a little more free, but St. Cloud also has not defended very well. And I thought we did a good job of taking advantage of that.
And then on your end, as you talk about what they did, what St. Cloud State did against Upper Iowa, Alec Rosner had a career high again. I think that's the second game within 3, because he had a career high against Minnesota Crookston the weekend before, career high over 30 points against St. Cloud State. He just seemed dialed in against St. Cloud State.
Yeah, he had a tough night on Friday. Duluth did a nice job, and so again, individually, Al did a great job of responding in a positive way. Played with a lot of confidence, was really aggressive getting to the paint and scoring and finishing, and then certainly knocked down a couple of threes. But he had a great night. I thought Dev was much better. I think Dev was 7 of 10 from the floor and got to the paint and made a couple of floaters. And so it really opened up a lot of things for everybody else. Also, I thought Connor Drew had a really good start to the night. He got a quick 7 or 8 points here before the first media timeout. So it was just a good bounce back performance for us. But now we go back on the road and have 2 huge challenges at programs that traditionally are very, very good, certainly at home, and we're going to have to play really well to win either game.
Yeah, before I get into that, I do want to ask about one more thing for the St. Cloud State game, and that was
Sure.
at 11 steals against St. Cloud. Is that going to be something that you're going to try to do again to other teams, just to create more opportunities for your squad?
Well, I think as we talked about, just trying to be better defensively. When Roberts and Donaldson have the ball, their strength is to put it on the floor and to attack the rim. The weapons around them probably aren't as well-rounded as Duluth. So again, on Friday night, we had to play a lot of one-on-one defense with not as much help. And on Saturday night, knowing that we could cheat off of a couple of people, it allowed us to what we call shrink the floor and put our help defenders in a good position to help the guy guarding the ball. And I think that led to a lot of steals. And so, it was more of our schematic things defensively and in our pack defense that put us in a position to be active with our hands, get some turnovers, and create some easy offense going in the other direction.
All right, very good. You mentioned next weekend you're on the road, Minnesota State Moorhead and Northern State. And Minnesota State Moorhead is an interesting matchup because of COVID, they haven't played since January 2nd. So they may have a little rust. When you play them on Friday, they're 9-8 heading into that contest, Northern 12-8. How do you feel about those matchups this weekend?
Well, we played Moorhead, obviously, Thanksgiving weekend and played really well the first half, played really well about the first 5 minutes of the second half. And then they kind of took the game over and scored it at a really high clip. We just kind of wore down and did defend at a very high level the last 15 minutes. So we're familiar with them. They're very talented. They were picked to win the North, if I'm not mistaken, preseason, and have a lot of firepower. Baumgartner's very good. Ersfeld's very good at the point. A couple of transfers, one from last year, one new this year that played very well against us, and then Zimmer inside at the 5. So we're going to have our hands full Friday, but again, they haven't played in 2 weeks, and sometimes that's a good thing for programs, and sometimes they'll show a little rust. We hope they show a little rust, obviously, on Friday. And then Northern State to go there for their I Hate Winter weekend, and that's always an interesting experience. I've had it one other time since I've been here, and most of the students wear trench coats, and then inside their trench coats, the young ladies have bikinis on and the guys have Speedos on, and they harass you when you're shooting free throws, and they put a jacuzzi down at one end of the floor, and people sit in a jacuzzi during the game. And so Northern's good enough without those type of promotional nights, but we get to see them on one of those big promotional nights, and it'd be a big challenge. They're 6-6 in the league, and have some really good pieces, but they lost a bunch from last year. So this is a good year to go up there and see how we rate against their kind of their new players.
So since you've seen that before, I mean, how do you help your players try to ignore some of the things that are going on and then just focus on the basketball instead?
Well, the one time we dealt with it was my second year here, and we were already getting blown out, I think, by the 10-minute mark of the first half, but it got out of control. I mean, it's a fun weekend for those kids, but it got out of control. I mean, these students were literally standing next to the basket standard because we have the ones that hang from the ceiling. They've got the portable ones on the ground on the court, and these kids were literally hanging they were on the floor next to the basket standard, in the lack of a word, flashing our guys while they shoot free throws. And I went to the referees. I'm like, they can't be on the floor. And he's like, do you really want me to go get them more riled up by telling them that the head coach at Winona State wants them removed from where they're at? I was like, we're already down 20 with 10 minutes into the first half. Let's just leave it go. But that's how crazy it gets. I mean, it's, like I said, it's a cool weekend. And so we'll just get our guys to enjoy it and embrace it. We just need to play well. At the end of the day, you take the orange ball and you put it through the net as often as possible and try to get them not to do that. And at the end of the day, you hope you have one more point than the other team.
All right. How did you escape this weekend health-wise with your team as you head into another road trip this weekend?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I think Connor Dillon's starting to get a little better. I'm not sure we'll get him at 100% yet before the year's over. But he was available for 20 minutes a game both nights. And, I guess thankfully for Connor's sake, we got, beat pretty bad on Friday night. I didn't need to use them. And then Saturday, kind of the opposite. We were ahead enough late in the game where I didn't need to use them as much. So, but I think he's getting more comfortable getting back into the flow of things. And then, for the most part, I think everybody else is doing okay. And so, no excuses there, I don't think. So we should be able to have the 11 guys on the road this weekend that we're supposed to have.
All right. Very good. I appreciate the time this week and good luck this weekend on the road.
All right, Justin, thanks.
All right. And we're going to take a break here on Warrior Fast Break. When we come back, we'll talk Warrior women's basketball with head coach Scott Ballard right after this. Get ready for Warrior Basketball Game Day and find out what happened the previous week on Warriors Fast Break. Each week, HBC TV 25's Justin Barrientos talks with Warrior men's basketball coach Todd Eisner and Warrior women's coach Scott Ballard to get their insight on the week that was in Winona State Warrior basketball. Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Russell & Associates.
Meet Jenny Soseski of Edina Realty. With nearly 30 years' experience, she knows that right now is the best time to sell your home. Jenny will help you get top dollar, higher than ever before. With today's low interest rates, it's time to upgrade your home and increase its value. High demand and low inventory also make this a perfect time to list your home. Call for a free market analysis. Contact Jenny Soseski at Edina Realty today, 507-458-7038.
And welcome back to Warrior Fast Break here on HBC TV 25, brought to you by Russell & Associates. Time now to turn to women's basketball and head coach Scott Ballard. And Coach Ballard, a couple of losses this weekend. I guess, let's get your initial thoughts on how the games went this weekend.
Well, going into it, knowing that we were playing the top two teams in the league, we knew that was going to be a big challenge for us. And based on how we had played up to that weekend, and then knowing the caliber of the competition, we had a lot of respect for them and knew that we were going to have to play really well in order to keep the games close and have a chance to maybe steal a win. As it turned out, looking back on it now, I felt like it was probably the best that we've played, the best weekend of two games that we've played up to this point. We played two really good 30-minute games. We had a bad quarter in each game that we could not overcome because of how good the competition was. In Friday night's game against Duluth, it was the fourth quarter. We were down 2 going to the fourth quarter. and we had a few turnovers and missed a few bunnies that ended up being 6 wasted possessions. And when you're playing against a team as an All-American in the middle, and their guards take care of the basketball, and they're going to get it. They're going to get it to, a go-to player. We couldn't overcome, 10-point deficit late in the game. All the pressure's on you. You can't not come away with a score and then turn around and let them build on the lead with free throws. And that's pretty much what happened. I felt like we did a good job on the boards against them until the fourth quarter. We showed that we were capable, but at the same time, we showed that we're not ready in clutch time of a game to make enough plays to put yourself in position to win against the best of the best. And then Saturday, St. Cloud, I know they lost Friday night. That was a big upset, whatever. But they played horrible, and they did not have Kilbottom in that game. She was in the last day of her quarantine. And so that's why she didn't play Friday night, and that's why she didn't start Saturday, but she still logged 25 minutes. But I felt like in the St. Cloud game, defensively, we were very solid. Offensively, first quarter was good. Second quarter, we missed some shots and we fouled a little bit too much on the defensive end. I think we were down 8 going into halftime. But then, the third and fourth quarter were pretty much a push. But we did not shoot the ball well from three-point land against St. Cloud. We knew that we would get a lot more three-point looks against them than Duluth, and we did. But unfortunately, we only made 8 out of 34, and the right people were taking them. It's hard to win from outside alone, and St. Cloud basically forced us to do that most of the second half. I was proud of our effort. We took better care of the ball this past weekend than we had been since we came back from Christmas. So there were some bright spots, some good things to build on moving forward. But we have to learn to play 40 minutes. 30 is not enough against a good team. So we'll see if we can do that on the road this weekend.
All right. I want to go back to the Minnesota Duluth game for just a second and see how much of a factor you thought this was in the game. You didn't get very many free throw opportunities against Minnesota Duluth, and they were 10 of 13 from the free throw line. How much did that factor in?
Well, we haven't been, Justin. It's been that way all year. We are the third best free throw shooting team in the league, but we have shot the fewest free throws of any team in the league. And it baffles me because we try to go inside to our post people every opportunity we can. We have guards that can drive the ball to the rim. But unfortunately, we have, part of it is we're taking a lot of threes. People are not going to foul you on threes. Perfect example, Saturday night, we shot 34 times to three-point land, and we got fouled once. And that doesn't happen very often, where you get fouled on a three-point shot. So if you're not shooting a good percentage from three-point land, then you better get some offensive rebounds to get some extra possessions. And a way to make up for a rebounding discrepancy or a turnover discrepancy is to get more shots and to get to the free throw line. Well, when you take the free throws away from us, then we're relying on shooting a really good percentage because we're not getting very many offensive rebounds. I think something that is working against us is that we are not very big at the guards. I mean, we got 3 guards out there at a time that none of them are over 5'7". And so you want them to play bigger, but you have to figure out what's more important. Sending one of them in there to hope they get a loose ball rebound, because they're not going to jump up over anybody and snatch it, or get back on defense so that you don't give up anything in transition. And so it's kind of a trade-off. We miss not having Lauren Fetch. She was one of our bigger guards. We need Caitlin Shrimp and Naomi Breinig. They are our 2 biggest guards now. We need them to go to the offensive boards every chance they get. But they are not on the floor for a lot of minutes at a time. So you don't really get to notice if they're going to be very impactful there. Naomi is a really good rebounder, but she's got to get better defensively, and she's got to take better care of the ball offensively to increase her minutes. And so we're hoping that that's going to develop, before the season comes to a close. But that's definitely something that we are looking for from her, in the near future.
Let's ask one thing about in the St. Cloud State game, whether you thought this happened or not. You had 0 bench points against St. Cloud State. So in your estimation, what happened there? Did St. Cloud just attack on defense more when the starters were out?
No. St. Cloud, they're not doing anything different based on who's out on the floor. They're just playing their game. And, they take what you give them. But, St. Cloud started packing it in more in the second half, so that Taylor Husted, that limited her opportunities and touches. Emma against Duluth got plenty of touches, but unfortunately, she only was 4 for 12 from the field, but had a lot of good lucks. She didn't get as many good lucks Saturday because St. Cloud was, packing it in. The teams that they're smart, they're gonna recognize that, and they're going to try to force us to score more from 3-point land. And until we shoot a better percentage there to open things up for our post people, it makes it challenging. The other thing is, I would like to be able to press more and try to play with more open court. But when you have 3 people missing from your roster, you don't have the depth to do that for extended periods of time. You can throw it in here and there after a timeout or a free throw situation or a moment of desperation inside the last 3 minutes of the game. But we would like to be able to do that. That was our plan, going into the season, but that was disrupted when our roster changed. But where St. Cloud really got us was on the boards. I told our group today, their guards out rebounded our guards 22-8. And their point guard, Evans, had 16 by herself. That's incredible. She's 5'8" and long, but the thing is, she goes to get them. She's anticipating. She knows that, whoever she's guarding at the point guard, they're probably not going to the boards. They're getting back in transition. And so she's like a center fielder. She does a really good job of cleaning up missed shots. And when you go 8 for 34 from 3-point land, that's 26 missed shots right there that somebody's going to get. And, they did a good job on the boards. I told our team early in the week, I said, my biggest concern with St. Cloud is the rebound. And, and that's going to be a challenge for us this weekend as well against Moorhead and Northern. That's 2 of their main strengths, is their rebounding and their post play.
So what is the focus in practice this week to get ready for Minnesota Moorhead and Northern?
Well, you spend time trying to get better at what you do, and then you spend half the time trying to prepare your team for what to expect from your opponents. We can't make ourselves any bigger, any faster, any stronger in the next 3 days. But basketball is a game of position. We have to do a better job of being in position, which most of the time we are. We usually have people in the right spots, but we have to have a different mindset from a physicality standpoint. I've seen people that were not tall that played big because they were physical and they had good positioning and they anticipated well. We can work on that stuff. But it's a mindset and an attitude when it comes to rebounding and defense. It's not the fun part of the game, but it's many times the most important part of the game.
All right. And then the final question, I mean, you've talked about the players that are actually missing for the rest of the year, but for those that you still have left, how healthy are you heading into this weekend?
Well, knock on wood, this is just Monday, but we did not get anybody hurt in practice today. That's a good thing. But we're okay. I mean, everybody after playing this many games during the schedule, gets dinged up and has some aches and pains, but we're not dealing with anything as of today that we can't or shouldn't be able to play through. I think it's very interesting that a year ago we played the fewest games anybody in the league, and right now nobody's played more games than we have. It just flipped. But it's like Moorhead has had their last 4 games canceled because of COVID. There's some other teams in the league that have had games canceled because either they had COVID breakout on their team or the team they were supposed to play had breakout. We haven't experienced that yet. We've read about it, heard about it, seen it from other teams. And so you just keep holding your breath and crossing your fingers that it's not going to happen, to us this week. But honestly, at this point, it's just take it one day at a time, one weekend at a time. Don't look too far ahead because everything is so fluid. It could change on moment's notice that it doesn't feel, you don't feel a lot of security with regards to what's going on. You don't feel stability, and that's not enjoyable, but it is what it is, and you try to do the best with it.
All right. Well, we appreciate the insight and the time this week, and good luck on the road this week.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. And thank you for watching Warrior Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. We'll see you next week.